Good morning. I'm coming at you from Landscape, Ontario in the Congress show. It's my first time up here, and it's been fun. Big show. A lot of people. It's been really busy. But I want to talk today about the article I wrote this morning on what to focus on in the off-season, part 2. So on the last one, I wrote about the necessity of getting your company budget built. If you have never built a budget, build it now. Why? So you can protect your profits and actually make the money you want to make, regardless of whether your sales climb or drop or whatever. Just make sure that you keep your budget set up so that the quotes you're sending out the door are priced correctly. So then point number 2, or part number 2 that I was talking about in this series of what to do in the off season is getting your sold jobs and your schedule like all populated, ready, set up, all that information put in. So what I mean by this is, and the reason this popped into my head when I was thinking about what to do in the off season is because a lot of people are upgrading their systems this time of year. Say, hey, what are we going to do different this year? And what I've seen in the past is people will buy a software or a system or whatever, or change their product or their system, and only use it for jobs that they sell from here on out. But then they don't go back and put all the jobs that they had sold for the upcoming season into the system, which means they're not on the schedule, there's no information in there, and then the crew has nothing to access, and it's kind of a, I don't know why, it seemed to be like a no-brainer, like once you get a new system, you have to put it all in. But, so that's why I'm reminding you. I've seen people kind of buy a new system and only use it from like today on forward, instead of like, well, let's go back in and enter all the information we have. So if you have it, if you're getting a new system, make sure you just do that so that you actually leverage and get the full benefit of the system itself. And then if you already are using a software or aren't changing your system, then you probably already have all your jobs and your schedule in place for the upcoming season. And if that's you, then what I would recommend is having a team meeting, like I talked about in the last article, where I would sit down and ask your team, like, hey, what was bad last year? What went great last year? What do you think we should do differently this year? So that you can get their feedback and then be like, well, hey, let's say that the foreman tells you that it'd be awesome if they had good before pictures in the digital job folder that they can look at from their app for every job. And maybe, SynkedUP has that feature where you can upload photos and videos, etc., to a job, and your crew can then look at that in the mobile app. But if you're not putting photos and videos in there, well, then it knocks out the benefit. There's no benefit for you and your crew. So what I would recommend is, if that, like in that hypothetical example, let's say that's you, I would just go back, well, yeah, let's go back and all the jobs we have on the schedule, and I'll just go back through my phone, find all the pictures I took when I was out there on the sales call, and I'll upload them so the crew can see the job that I had sold maybe 2 months ago that's on the schedule for May. Get all that information in. So what I would do for every job that's in your books and on the schedule, I would make sure they have good notes, good documentation, good material lists, good photos and videos, and make it so that your crew doesn't have to call you for that information when they're out there in the field or trying to prep for that job. And that will really minimize phone tag, and whatever system you're using, SynkedUP or whatever it is, maybe Google Drive or whatever you're using, it becomes a source of truth so that your team can reliably go to that source of truth to find the information they need and don't have to call you where you're the bottleneck. So another little story of like an idea from the crew back to changing a process. So when I was working at Tussie, one of the things that would happen there is we would sell a lot of water features, and we had kind of a kit menu style built out in the water features. So and our supplier had record of all these kits that we sold in their system. So whenever the sales guy would sell a water feature, say it's an 11 to 16 palm with an 8-foot stream, the supplier would just print out that order, give it to us in a PDF, or the salesperson would just say, hey, I sold that 11 to 16 by that 8-foot stream kit. Can you get me, I want to place an order for that. They would just print that out as a PDF. And the sales guy, the easiest thing for him to do was just to upload that PDF to the job folder, but only create one line in the materials section of like, hey, $3,500 for all the pond parts. And as a foreman, I hated that because I couldn't see what pump was on there. I couldn't see what size the liner was. I couldn't see any details because it was just one line item for everything. Then I had to go to the attachments and download a PDF and zoom in and on my phone screen try to read everything there. And oh, by the way, if anything changed in the meantime, now that PDF's outdated, and I hated that. And so what we did is, the reason the salesperson was doing that is because it was the easiest thing to do. And ponds have a lot of small parts and pieces in them, so he didn't want to, sit there and drag and drop 30 different items into a quote manually. So what we did as a solution is we built templates in SynkedUP for all of our pond kits that we ever sell. And then all the salesperson had to do was just drag and drop the template in, and bam, we had, as a foreman, I had all the information I needed in the materials list of the app, and it was easy for the salesperson. Still upload the PDF if you want, but solve the problem. And I'm just telling you that story to give you an example of how you can get ideas from your crew to make life easier for them, get them to buy into whatever system or process you want them to use, and minimize phone tag, be more efficient, better access to information. That's the whole name of the game. Like we don't want to be, because every truck run back to the shop for a tool, or every run to Lowe's or fuel stop that you eliminate, it adds profit to your bottom line, which means you can pay yourself better, pay your team better, and at the end of the day, that's the whole point of it. So, okay, so next week I'm going to talk about training your crew, prepping your crew for the upcoming season. In the off season, I'm just going to share some thoughts about that. But thanks for tuning in. Hit a like on this video if you like it. Hit subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. As I put these out, I will probably be from a booth or a hotel room over the next couple months as I'm traveling all over North America, speaking and doing shows for SynkedUP. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.